Hello and welcome to Unacademy. Are you ready for Prelims 2026? You must be, and you are. UPSC has committed mistakes in their answer keys. In the recently released answer key, for example, there were few doubtful answers in geography, in economy. In polity too, previously UPSC has committed mistakes. But then, because of these mistakes, there is a strong negative impact on the minds of the candidates, on you. You read a question, you read the options, you know this is the right answer, but then you start second guessing. You doubt yourself and you start thinking and wondering what could be the answer to this question according to UPSC. Because according to UPSC and the real answer, sometimes there is a mismatch. How should you approach Prelims 2026, keeping this controversy in mind, keeping this discrepancy in the answer key in mind? That's something that we are going to discuss today in this very short but important video. But first up, if you're not attempting Prelims 2026, but your target is 2027 or beyond, and you're interested in our subscription, one question that I frequently am asked is which subscription plan is suitable for us. If you're targeting 2027, then you should opt for this 15 months, 3 months. If your target is 2028, then you should opt for 18-month subscription. And because of the ongoing offer, you will get 6 months free subscription, which means a 2-year subscription. Use this code IAS English whenever you wish to enroll in our program. But the fact is, let's look at two questions. With a reference to the finance bill and money bill in the Indian Parliament, consider the following statements. You know, finance bill and money bill, they are the same. Financial bill is different, money bill is different. Read the options. When the Lok Sabha transmits finance bill to the Rajya Sabha, it can amend or reject the bill. The answer is that this is incorrect. Ideally. Why? Because finance bill is nothing but a money bill. And on money bill, Rajya Sabha has an inferior role. Rajya Sabha cannot amend a money bill. Rajya Sabha cannot reject a money bill. Right? But then when the Lok Sabha transmits money bill to the Rajya Sabha, it cannot amend or reject the bill. It can only make recommendations. This statement is correct. In case of disagreement between Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, there is no joint sitting for money bill, but a joint sitting becomes necessary for the finance bill. This statement is incorrect because the president may notify a joint sitting in case of a financial bill. But this is finance bill. This is money bill. Money bill and finance bill is the same. There is no joint sitting when it comes to a money bill. And on top of that, it says joint sitting becomes necessary even if it's a financial bill. It is not necessary. So this statement is incorrect. So ideally the answer is only one, which is A is the right answer. But according to UPSC, the answer is only 2, which means what? UPSC is drawing a distinction between a finance bill and money bill in a sense that UPSC considers that this finance bill is not a finance bill but financial bill. So when Lok Sabha transmits the financial bill to the Rajya Sabha, it can amend or reject the bill, which is true because the role of the Rajya Sabha when it comes to a financial bill is same as that of an ordinary bill, which means 2 statements are correct. B is the right answer. Here you need to assume, even if such type of question is asked in 2026 or beyond, you need to assume that UPSC is not talking about finance bill, but financial bill. Sir, how do we assume? In the sense that read the statement 3. Here, the way the statement 3 has been presented, it clearly means that UPSC is assuming that it is not finance bill, it is financial bill. So you also have to use the same assumption and assume that it is not finance bill, it is financial bill under Article 117 and then arrive at the right answer. In such types of questions, you need to assume, even if the question is asked in 2026 or beyond. That's number 1. Number 2, with a reference to the union budget, consider the following statements. The Union Finance Minister, on behalf of the Prime Minister, lays the annual financial statement before both houses of the Parliament. This is incorrect. At the union level, no demand for a grant can be made except on the recommendation of the President of India. Clear? So the ideal answer is B, but UPSC says C. Both the statements are correct. How is the statement number 1 correct? Because it is not the Finance Minister tabling union budget on behalf of the Prime Minister, it is on behalf of the President of India. So, sir, if a similar question is asked tomorrow, what do we write? What do we mark as the correct option? Here, you don't have to assume anything. Here, whatever you think is the right answer, you make that option. Even if UPSC will make mistake, now for the first time, you can challenge the provisional answer key which will be released by the UPSC. Because this time, UPSC will not release the answer key after the final results are declared. UPSC will release answer key within days of the prelims examination. Then you will be given the opportunity to challenge if there are some answers which you think are incorrect. And then the final answer key will be released by the UPSC. So such questions, if they are asked, you should not be thinking on the lines of the UPSC mentality of what UPSC thinks is the right answer. Here you have to categorically focus on your own understanding, constitutional provisions, or the books, the standard books that you have referred. Now listen to me carefully. Union Finance Minister on behalf of the Prime Minister lays actual financial statement. You can say, sir, and this is how your mind will work differently. If you will use this kind of logic, if you say that UPSC is right, despite the fact that Article 112 makes it clear that it is President who causes to be laid in both houses of the Parliament annual financial statement. But if this answer is given correct, this statement is given correct by UPSC, this is how your approach will now change. If you follow this approach for every question, by that logic, you can say Attorney General for India is appointed by the Prime Minister. Although appointed by President, but only on the advice of the Prime Minister. By that logic, CAG is appointed by Prime Minister is a correct statement. By that logic, ministers appointed by Prime Minister is the correct option. You don't have to assume anything here. You have to strictly abide by what you think is the correct answer according to the standard sources, according to what your class notes are, according to what the teacher has taught you, according to the constitution, standard books. Because even if there are some mistakes such as this, you can point out these mistakes and challenge the provisional answer key released by the UPSC. Don't assume anything. But if such a question is asked again, you will have to assume. Because by reading statement 3, you can clearly make out that UPSC is not talking about money bill and finance bill, but money bill and financial bill. In case of a disagreement between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, there is no joint sitting for money bill, but a joint sitting becomes necessary for a finance bill. Since this statement talks about two different types of bills, you have to assume these are two different types of bills. This is money bill and financial bill. But in such questions, UPSC has made a mistake, but that doesn't mean they will continue making these mistakes. You can even challenge the answer key released by the UPSC. Now comes the important point. For polity specifically, what do you revise now and how do you approach the questions? Please read the question carefully. If the question talks about according to constitution, the answer may change. For example, in India, a law enacted by the parliament can be challenged in the courts based on the power of the court, which is judicial review. Is the statement correct? The statement is correct. Judicial review is part of the basic structure of the constitution. This statement is correct. Now, if I add this statement, according to constitution, judicial review is part of the basic structure of the constitution, it is incorrect. According to constitution, constitution defines judicial review in terms of this and that. Constitution does not define what is judicial review. So you need to understand while reading questions, please read them carefully. According to constitution, if such a statement is asked, you strictly will have to look at the bare act. And I'm telling you, right now, with few days left for the examination, do not read something entirely new which you have not covered previously. If you have to revise polity, if you're not scoring well in the mocks, then the best way to revise is revise the Bare Act. Now, that does not mean that you will have to watch the Bare Act videos which I have made previously. No, you can download the annotated PDF and absolutely revise it. You don't need to do anything else. So for polity specifically, please revise the Bare Act. And while reading the questions, please read the questions carefully. Is it mentioned according to Constitution or is it a general statement? That's number one. Number two, for example, no confidence motion. Confidence motion. These motions are important. Adjournment motion, censure motion, privilege motion. Is no confidence motion mentioned in the Constitution? No. Is no confidence motion mentioned in the Constitution? No. Is no confidence motion mentioned in the rules of business and procedure? Yes. Is confidence motion mentioned? No. So this differentiation you need to understand. You have revised, you have studied. Now, if you need to revise polity again, instead of reading Lakshmikant or class notes, I would urge you, beseech you, please revise the Bare Act itself. That will give you good, solid, conceptual revision of the polity concepts. And read the question carefully. There is enough time. You don't have to panic. You don't have to rush through. Read the question carefully, see what it is asking according to Constitution. And sometimes in the rush, your mind tends to arrive at an answer thinking that the question is asking me point out which are the correct options. What if it is mentioned, which of the statements given above are incorrect? Read it carefully. Don't just read the question and the options. Read what is the demand of that question. What is the question asking you to point out? Correct ones or incorrect ones? Keep that in mind. Basically, long story short, read the question carefully. But then something else, very important. How many questions should I attempt in the upcoming prelims examination? Do you need to know the answer to this question before you enter the examination hall? Please never ever commit this mistake. You should never enter the examination hall with a preconceived number that I should attempt 80 questions or 60 questions or 90 questions. It depends entirely on the question paper. If you're able to solve 90 questions, solve them. If you're able to solve 60 questions, solve them. But then do you need to guess more questions or not? That I'm going to tell you now. But please do not enter the examination hall with a predetermined number that these many questions I will be attempting today. It all depends upon what is the standard of the question paper. How many questions are you able to solve? Now listen to me carefully. Thousands, lakhs of people are going to attempt this examination. And let's say 1 lakh students are absolutely serious about this examination. They would have studied everything. But do you know, even such students might struggle. So no matter what you have read, what you have studied, how many times you have revised, what is the score that you're getting in your mocks, the entire thing will depend upon how you're able to stay calm and control your nerves during those 2 hours when you are actually attempting the question paper. Please stay calm because nothing is going to affect you. Why? Because you have worked hard. If you have worked hard and if you believe in God or if you believe in nature, you have done your hard work. Now there are things beyond your control. Attempt the question paper with confidence. Don't doubt yourself. Don't second guess. And you have to stick to your understanding of the concepts. Don't assume that this question is so easy. How can UPSC ask such an easy question? No, there is something more than what meets an eye. There may be a different answer to this question. Don't do that. You will regret later. Enter the examination hall calmly. Spend those 2 hours living the moment. Living the moment in the sense, just keep this mentality in mind that you have prepared hard for this examination. Now you are going to experience this examination for the first time or second time or third time, whatever it is. Live that moment. It's easier said than done, but if you can practice this, you're going to qualify this examination. Enter the examination hall without any baggage. That this is my last attempt or second attempt. In my previous attempts, I made these mistakes. I should not be making these mistakes again. Don't enter the examination hall with baggage. Stay calm. One night before the exam, don't read anything. One day before the exam, don't read anything. Have good, proper 6 to 8 hours or even 9 hours of sleep. Go to your examination center well ahead of time. Don't panic. Be calm. Control your nerves. And if you do that, I promise you success. And don't enter the examination hall with this predetermined number that I'm going to attempt these many questions. Now, this is the second most important point. You don't study, or you don't read a book, or you don't attempt mocks, or you don't watch YouTube videos hoping that whatever we have read, those things would appear in the question paper. No. Ideally, yes. So whatever you have read, whatever books you have read, whatever notes you have read, whatever videos you have watched, whatever classes you have attended, ideally from those topics and that content should be asked in the examination. But not just that. There will be few questions which you may not have heard. Few statements you may have never read or encountered. But then how do you approach such questions? Sit back. Let your mind function. Even if I have never read the statement, but whatever I have read related to this concept, can I use my existing knowledge to arrive at an answer to this question? I have not read this statement. This is alien to me, Greek to me. But I know a concept related to it. Can I recall that concept or those facts or those provisions, and basis that I can make an intelligent guess what could be the answer to this question? Do that. Normally, students, what they do, they read questions. If they have read these statements, if these statements appear familiar, they will attempt. Remaining ones, they discard. Don't discard. Without going through the question again, going through the related concept again, and then recalling in your mind, can I use my existing knowledge to make an intelligent guess in arriving at an answer to this question? Do that. What does prelim syllabus tell you? Questions on environment, climate change, which do not require subject specialization. There will be few questions, sometimes more, 5, 6, in science and environment for which you don't need to know anything. Then you can use your common sense and logic to arrive at an answer. Because of the paucity of time, I cannot list down those questions, but trust me, each year, at least 2 to 3 questions appear in the examination, which even if you have not read these questions, you have not read the associated concepts, but using your common sense and logic, you can arrive at an answer. Focus on those questions as well. Search for those questions. Where do you make guesses? There is a question which is purely factual, and there is a question which is purely conceptual. Make more guesses in attempting conceptual questions, because that won't be a wild guess. That will be an intelligent guess. For example, what will happen to the trade winds? What will happen to the atmospheric circulation? You have conceptual understanding. Using that, you can arrive at an answer to a conceptual question. But if it's a factual question that this particular scheme was implemented from 2010, or the target is that we are going to arrive at this number by 2030. These are facts, and you can not make guesses, intelligent guesses. These are wild guesses that you will make. So for such factual questions, purely factual questions, don't make random guesses. Don't attempt these questions. But those questions which are conceptual in nature, you can, you should, and you must attempt these questions, keeping in mind the number which I'm going to tell you now. Sir, how do we know whether we should attempt more questions or we should stop? How do we know whether this is an easy question paper or a difficult one? Keep few things in mind. You have followed the PYQs. If you have not followed the PYQs, I'm sorry to say, but you're not prepared for this examination. I'm being brutally honest to your face. You're not ready for this exam. PYQ is a must. If you have gone through the PYQs of at least the last 10 years, keeping those PYQs in mind, look at the question paper of 2026. Is it easier than last or difficult? Now, we also know that in hindsight, everything appears easy. It's easier to be wise after the event is over. But even then, dispassionately, if you can take a look at the 2026 question paper and keep in mind the question paper of the past years, accordingly, you will get a sense that whether this question paper is difficult than last year or easy. Is there any way in which we can find out? Yes. If this question paper is more current dominated, current affairs questions are more in number, and less questions are from the static portions, consider it a difficult question paper. But if it is dominated by the static concepts, or the static portion is abundantly asked in the examination, then it is easier. Easier how? This is where the veterans have an advantage. Veterans who have been preparing for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they have already covered the static portion. They may lag in current affairs here and there because current affairs is a leveler. Everybody starts at the same stage when it comes to current affairs, because current affairs for the last 1 year, 1.5 years would be normally asked in the examination. So if it is current affairs dominated, it's slightly difficult. If it is static portion dominated, then it is slightly easier. If those questions or the standard of those questions are easier than last year's comparison with the last year's. Now listen to me carefully. You enter the examination hall, stay calm, read the questions, one by one, immediately mark the OMR sheet. Don't leave it till the end. Normally what happens? Students make mistakes. That I will first mark on my question paper that for question number 1, this is the answer. Question number 2, this is the answer. And then towards the end, I will fill the OMR sheet. That is a recipe for disaster. Why? I don't need to even explain it. That's a recipe for disaster. Why? Because maybe you have answered questions 1 to 5, 6 and 7 you have skipped. And now you have answered question 8, 9 and 10. While filling the OMR sheet, because now you are in a rush, because there is less time left, now you will have to fill the OMR sheet quickly. You have answered, filled the options for answers 1 to 5. Now you had to apply for question number 8, 9 and 10. Because you are in a rush, what was the answer to question number 8 that you have marked against question number 6? Answer to question number 9, you have answered for question number 7. Now by that logic, the entire marking is incorrect and you won't get a different OMR sheet. As soon as you know the question, you read the question, you know the answer, mark the OMR sheet. Don't leave it till the end. One more thing, and listen to me carefully. In your first round, you should be attempting those questions only where you are 100% sure that this is the right answer. Then in your next round, you should attempt those questions where you are 50-50. Whether A or B is the right. You have already eliminated the 2 other options. Now you're torn between A and B or C and D or A and D or A and C. What is the right answer? You should attempt these questions as well. Then the third stage will come where you will look at those questions for which you don't know the answer. But if these are conceptual questions, using your knowledge, you should arrive at an answer by making an intelligent guess. Then you should attempt those questions and leave those fact-based questions, obscure facts, maybe related to some authors or sports, which you have no idea about. You can't make a guess either. Skip them. But then, sir, how many questions should I attempt? Now is the time to decide. For example, in your first round, if you have attempted 40 questions where you are absolutely sure which is the right answer, you should also keep a buffer in mind that 2 or 3 will be incorrect. will be incorrect. That happens. With 40 questions, can you cross the cutoff? No. That means you will have to necessarily go through stage 2 and solve these questions where you are 50-50. Even then, if you arrive at, let's say, 55 questions, now there are 15 such questions where you are 50-50 sure, you will make mistakes there as well. Then you have to necessarily go through the stage 3, because with these many questions, you cannot clear the prelims cutoff. Then you will have to slog and you will have to attempt more questions. But if in your first round you have already answered 60, now please be careful in attempting further questions. Attempt only those questions where you can be 50-50 sure and you can make intelligent guesses. But then if there are some 20 questions for which you have no idea about, but in your first round you have already attempted 60, don't attempt these 20 questions. Attempt those 20 questions where you are confused whether A or B is the right answer, or you can make intelligent guesses. So in total, you should attempt only 80 questions. But since in your first round, you have already crossed 60 threshold, you should be very careful for the negative marking, because in any case, you are qualifying the prelims examination. But if you are attempting only 40 in your first round, then this is a matter for concern, because with 80, you will not be able to clear the prelims examination. Then you will have to go through round 2, round 3, but then make intelligent guesses. But even while making guesses, please understand, you should be making guesses for those questions which are built on conceptual understanding rather than facts, because facts you either know or you don't know. Or there are some facts where you can make a guess also. For example, this particular scheme, you know this particular scheme was launched when Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister. So this may not have been during the time of Mr. Modi. Or let's say a fact, 9th schedule was added during the Prime Ministership of. You don't know what is the answer. But you would know 9th schedule was added immediately after the enactment of the Indian Constitution. So it cannot be Indira Gandhi. It cannot be Lal Bahadur Shastri. It has to be Pandit Nehru, because he governed, he was the Prime Minister for 14 odd years. That was the question asked in one of the prelims examination. With this mindset, just don't panic. In these last few days, I know it's easier said than done, don't panic. But it's also, if you look at it this way, easier. Because enter the examination hall with no baggage and you don't have to lose anything. What are you going to lose? What are you going to lose? Let's assume for a while that you can't crack the prelims examination. Is that the end of the world? Is that the end of life? There is a life beyond UPSC. But sir, if you say this right now, it is demotivating. It's not demotivating. What is the maximum? Look at the negativity first. What is the maximum thing that can happen? Maximum thing that can happen. Maximum negative thing that can happen. You can't clear this exam. So what? You're still alive. You can try out new things. Next attempt maybe. You're not dead. You should be very scared if you don't qualify, then you are dead. Dead as in the physical life gets extinguished. Then you should be scared. Otherwise, you should not be scared at all. Enter, be calm, be content, be happy. Be happy in the sense that you are able to finally live the moment that you have been preparing for so many years or so many months. I want to attempt this examination. Maybe I'm the first person to attempt prelims examination of the UPSC in my family or in my extended neighborhood. Find out what makes you happy in attempting this exam. Keep that in mind. Enter the examination hall and kill it. There is one famous Bollywood dialogue. अगर किसी चीज़ को शिद्दत से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात उसे तुम्हें मिलाने की कोशिश करती है. Om Shanti Om, Shah Rukh Khan, but it's a plagiarized content. It's basically from Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. If you really want to achieve something, you're after something, the entire world conspires in helping you reach that, achieve that. This is true. And I can tell you from my experience, this is true. Be calm, be confident, be happy. And at the same time, don't stress much. Again, easier said than done, but I'm telling you, it is easier also not to stress, because you're not going to die if you can't clear this examination. And imagine what is going to happen once you clear the prelims examination, then the main stage, and now you are at a touching distance of realizing your dream. Whatever it is, one day before the exam, don't read anything. Watch a movie, listen to songs, do whatever you wish to do, go out for a run, whatever you want to do. Stay happy, stay calm, stay content. All the best. And if you need any help from me or from my team or any of the educators, let us know in the comment section. And together, let's crack it.